All right, good morning. My name is Drew Stoltz, and today my presentation is going to be about Mars. All right, so more specifically, we're going to go into what we know about Mars, right? How do we get there from here? Obviously, I'm talking about manned missions because we've already, done some unmanned missions there, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. And why would we want to go in there? What's in it for us? Why would we want to go? All right, so some characteristics of Mars here. Here you got the solar system. We're obviously the third rock from the sun, and Mars is the fourth, just past us. So when you look at that, Mercury and Venus, obviously we can't inhabit because it's so close to the sun. It's just too hot. We wouldn't be able to live there, right? So the next viable place would be just past this, which would be Mars. So when you look at Mars, Mars is about 40. When you look at a day in Mars, it's about 40 minutes longer than ours. And it's just relatively about the same timeline for a day for us. When you look at the size, it's just over half the size of the Earth. But when you think about Earth, it's only about 70%, or it's about 70% full of water anyway. So it really, when you look at inhabitants, we're looking at using about 30% of our planet anyways. It's called the red planet because of the color of the dust. When you look at the planet, it's all red. And because of that, it's red because of how rich of iron that dust has in it. Some characteristics about just the atmosphere, it's very thin and cold atmosphere, right? So when you're looking at the north and south poles of Mars, it actually can get down to 199 below zero, which is pretty crazy. On the other hand, when you're looking at the equator, right around the equator of Mars, it runs around 70 to 80 degrees, roughly. So when I was doing some research on Mars, I actually found out that Mars is home to the tallest mountain and the deepest and largest valley in the solar system. So for the tallest mountain, it's going to be Mount Mons. It's about 17 miles tall, so that's pretty tall, right? And the deepest and the greatest valleys is valleys which is 6 miles deep and about 2,500 miles long. And then the last thing on the slide is the dust storms. So when you look at dust storms, I found out that so I've been to Iraq and I used to hate the sandstorms there, but so on Mars, the dust storms can cover the entire planet, and it actually lasts as long as a couple months, 2 to 3 months. So I thought that was pretty intriguing. So now that we talked about some characteristics of Mars, let's go ahead and jump into how do we get there, right? When we talk about getting there, we're talking about going for manned missions, right? So prior missions, we're talking about unmanned. So about 12 missions, or not about, but 12 missions have been planned and executed to go to Mars, right? Out of them 12, 8 were successful. All of those successful missions were from NASA. All right, so we know how we're going to get there, right? So how long or how far is it from here to there? Well, that kind of just depends on where we are in orbit between us and Mars. So the furthest is going to be right around 250 million miles away, and the closest we can get is about 33.9 million miles away. We average right around about 140 million miles. So that's obviously your auto warranty is going to be up before you can get to the planet. The time. So how long is it going to take us to get there? So roughly about 6 to 8 months for us to get one way to get there. And then you got to plan on how long you're going to be there to do whatever mission you're going to do on the planet, and then another 6 to 8 months to get back. All right, now that we talked about how we're going to get there, let's talk about why. So survival. Obviously, a lot of people, when you think about the dinosaurs roaming the Earth, got wiped out by a meteorite. Could that happen again? Yes, it could happen. So why not inhabit another planet and double our odds of surviving if that happens again? All right, so obviously the next one is new life. We're always intrigued on extraterrestrial life forms and new things to us. So that would be another thing for science, And then lastly, the political and economical gain, right? So if you were alive or were around or watched the first time that a human being set foot on the moon, you're going to remember who you were with, where you were, how you felt, and every detail about that, because that's huge. That's something that never happened before and that you're a part of. So I think that would obviously set us apart once again for political and economical gain if we're the first ones to send people to Mars. So in conclusion, we talked about Mars. How do we get there? Why would we want to get there? And I thought it was pretty crazy that according to Elon Musk, which is Tesla Motors and CEO of SpaceX, he thinks that over a large amount of time we can actually warm up Mars, like a greenhouse effect, enough to melt the frozen ice and make it habitable. I thought that was pretty crazy. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you.